Hello, my name is DAZE Ellis. I'm from New York City, and we are here in my studio in the South Bronx. When I was getting started, I think choosing a name is really important because you don't want to have a name that everyone else has got out in the world, because that name is going to establish your identity and who you are. So I just started to think about the letters that I could draw best, and nobody had that name. It was not taken at that time at all. It was completely unique. So I just started writing DAZE, and it fit like a glove. As a kid, I was always artistically inclined. I was always drawing, primarily trying to copy comic books like Dick Tracy from the Sunday News, a lot of Marvel comics, Spider-Man. I come from that era. Really, comic books were kind of my art school before I ever got to an art school. Fast forward to 1976. I take a test, I get into the High School of Art and Design, which was a specialized art high school. All of a sudden, I'm not just the class artist, but I'm amongst many artists. And amongst those many artists is when I started meeting people that were going out and painting trains. And that world became my second kind of art school. You know, meeting them, talking to them about what they were doing, sketching letters, and kind of trying to figure it all out. And once I became confident enough to kind of go out there, it really became my whole world. At the same time, the New York art world was really starting to explode in the early 80s. People like Jean-Michel Basquiat, Kenny Scharf, Keith Haring, Richard Hambleton, Jenny Holzer, and many, many others were starting to do what was really the first attempts at street art. I don't think that graffiti and street art are directly related to any kind of rising crime or anything like that. If anything, it's divergent away from that world. As I said earlier, I came from a New York City that was a lot crazier, and graffiti was lightweight compared to some of the stuff that I saw going on, and even now compared to stuff that's still going on. You know, I don't think it's a stepping stone towards other things. Well, when I look at art, what attracts me is when I'm able to see the artist's hand behind what's being presented. When it becomes too mechanical and a little bit too flat, it kind of loses me. When someone's using their hands to create something, whether it's a sculpture or a painting, you know, it's nice to be able to see them kind of struggle in some ways, or really kind of go at it. Sometimes pieces are not always successful, but it's nice to be able to see that process. Well, the show is called The Journey, in part because most of the paintings have to deal with images of subway tunnels, where I did about 80% of the work. And subway tunnels were always an interesting environment to me to kind of try to paint in, because there's limited light capabilities, yet because of that, your senses are heightened. You're listening to every sound, the click of the tracks, the compressors of the trains going on and off, oncoming trains, the rush and roar of them going by, you know, while you're painting. All that really created this heightened sense of awareness within it. But I also look at it as a kind of metaphor. You know, you're working this dark area. The times that we're living in are, I think, in some ways really dark, but in my tunnel paintings, there's always a light kind of at the end of the tunnel. So there's this kind of optimism that exists. And this is also the first exhibition, really proper exhibition that I've done in London at Woodbury House. I've shown many other places in Europe repeatedly, but for some reason, London's always kind of escaped me. So I'm really excited about returning there. I love working with Woodbury House. I love the fact that they're kind of young and really energetic and get things done. You know, I mean, going out and getting shit done is really it's really the name of the game these days. But they're young and they have a lot of energy and they respect and like what I do.